yo, solid album. Solid album. You know, I enjoyed both sides. I enjoyed all the songs. You know, I'll put it on. I won't skip any songs. Yes, there are no hits on it, but I enjoyed it all the same. And yeah, it's a solid album. And I'm very, very glad that I decided to continue with the chronology of things and just following their path. Whether they're riding high with lots and lots of back-to-back hits or not, at their core, on their basic level, their musicianship is on point. Their storytelling is good. The cohesion is really, really good. The musicianship is still tight. You know, instrumentation is excellent. And yeah, on their very, very worst, I will still enjoy what the Allmans have to offer. Yeah, okay, I understand that there's a lot of turmoil and things going on, but I'm just looking at it from purely someone who just happens upon it without any prior knowledge or awareness of what they've done before, using that as a measuring stick, or their bad history or their troubles or whatever it is. Just strictly from a listening standpoint, this is an excellent album. And you can take some unknown artist, take their worst, if this is their worst material, and they can have a really successful recording career with this bad material, if that's what we're going to consider it as being. Anyways, man, I'm going to follow the chronology, and perhaps I will encounter, I think that in following the chronology, I'm probably going to encounter other albums as such that don't have any hits, but will still stand on their own as being really, really good, solid pieces of musical work. I just don't see the Allman Brothers cranking out shit. I just don't see it. Same with Aerosmith. You know, if I had listened to what a lot of people were telling me, oh, skip this, skip this, skip this, then I would have missed out on some really decent Aerosmith tracks. They weren't hits in some of those middle albums, but all the same, on a level where Aerosmith is concerned, the music was still damn good. And that's what I enjoy about this album. It's still damn good. So let us do a little review here, man. So I'm considering this the end of video 2, side 2, and I'm going into the review portion now. So I'm going to attach this as part of side 2, but if I go back to YouTube, more than likely I'll have to split it up into 3 parts, whereas the review will probably be the only part that gets uploaded, and we can all actually converge on the review and then kind of share our thoughts. That's how I'm structuring my my reactions. So man, let us just do a quick little read here on what we can learn on Win, Lose, or Draw. Okay. Yeah, there's some decent information, recording history and content and all that, but I'll read the main part and then I'll skip down to the review, reception, and aftermath part. So let's read the main part. Win, Lose, or Draw. Win, Lose, or Draw is the 5th studio album by American rock band the Allman Brothers Band, produced by Johnny Sandlin and the band themselves. The album was released in August of '75 in the US by Capricorn Records. The band had previously released their 4th record, Brothers and Sisters, in '73 to critical and commercial success. The band toured the following year, attracting large crowds and earning substantial amounts of money, all while internal tension grew between the members. Vocalist Gregg Allman and Dickie Betts released solo albums, The Gregg Allman Tour and Highway Call, both issued that fall, which prompted speculation on the band's unity. It was the last album to feature bassist Lamar Williams and pianist Chuck Leavell. When the band regrouped to work on Win, Lose, or Draw, unresolved issues arose in rehearsals. The band was particularly critical of Allman's decision to move to LA, as well as his tabloid relationship with pop star Cher. Let me stop there for a sec. was it a combination of moving to LA that they didn't like? Was it just that alone? And then his relationship with Cher was a little bit added to that because she was taking some of his time and focus away? Or did she play a bigger role where it comes to causing dissension and issues within the band? If you know your history, let me know. What role did Cher play, if any at all, in adding to stress within the group? Let me know about that. From how I'm reading it, I think that it was just his decision to move to LA, but his relationship with her probably took him away from making music a little bit further, so it was just a sprinkling of the relationship, not so much a major part to blame. Let me know. With miscommunication and anger at an all-time high, the band pieced together the album over a period of several months, in stark contrast to their usual recording methods. Band members often could not be present in the studio at the same time. Yeah, so relocating, especially where probably the remainder of the band had lives in Macon, Georgia, that would make it a little bit more stressful for sure. Reviews of the album were negative, commenting on a lack of energy, formulaic songwriting, and indifferent sound. The album reached number 5 in the Billboard 200 albums chart based on their previous popularity. The record had been highly anticipated a year earlier, but now the Allman's moment was passing. Damn. Now this is, I'm reading Wikipedia here. So whoever decided to write this in Wikipedia, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but I think that's very, very harsh. Yeah, okay, so they might have been going through issues and problems and whatnot. Who's to say? You know, but I'm sure this is more of a retrospective point of view. If it was a contemporary review, they wouldn't know, well, this is the beginning of the end of the band. How would they know, right? That's just how I'm reading this. Okay, so reception. Win, Lose or Draw did not perform on the same scale as its predecessors, critically or commercially. Aftermath. The Allman Brothers would dissolve in acrimony the following year, and a late 1970s reunion attempt, notwithstanding, would not reclaim their spot in the American musical pantheon until their successful 1989 reformation. The band has since looked back at Win, Lose or Draw with mixed perception. Quote, "The main problem with Win, Lose or Draw is simply that none of us were really into the music," remarked Trucks. "We were into being rock stars and the music became secondary. When we heard the finished music, we were all embarrassed." Unquote. Allman agreed with this sentiment. Quote, "Win, Lose or Draw was a perfect reflection of our situation in 1975. It was basically all over with the Allman Brothers Band." Unquote. Wow. Yeah, man. So quite dire from the point of view of the band. But hey, you know what, man? Good, bad, and ugly. You know, there's got to be a best and there's got to be a worst. And so if this is their worst, I'll take it all the same. But yeah, it's interesting to see that the members themselves, at this point, maybe they were just done. Maybe they needed to just go on their own for a couple of years, kind of regroup, refocus, reestablish, at least a bridge of friendly communication, and then eventually perhaps work their way back into the studio, if that was at all feasible, But whether they had that ability or not, despite the fact that, they left us with some really, really great, fantastic hits. But I do know that they did get back together. And then shortly after that, I believe Greg passed. And then some of the succeeding musicians were friends and family. And I believe that it's just recently that the Allman Brothers decided to finally retire the band. I believe that's the case. But hey, you know what? I'll take the music for what it is. I'll take this album for what it is. And in my opinion, based on what I like this album. It's a good album. I like all the songs, and I like all the tracks. And I'm never really going into a reaction, especially a full album reaction, expecting big, colossal, epic hits. You know what I mean? To me, a great album is not dependent upon or does not stand just on the shoulders of its great hits. So I'm gonna really watch how I approach full album reactions going forward, because like I said already, I've made this almost made this mistake with Aerosmith in looking to skip a couple of albums. I'm not going to do that again. Artist of the month, going forward from now on, I'm following the chronology, strictly following it, whether the album is shit or not. Depending on people's opinions, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to follow the chronology, because beyond the music, it's also about the story here. I mean, you know, reading what these guys had to say and how they felt, that is really a very good indicator of what was happening. And you know, I know too that as an artist, you can be your own worst critic. They were embarrassed. Well, what were they embarrassed about? In a sense, they were embarrassed about I guess the bar that they had set, and knowing that this is certainly not their best. So therefore they're embarrassed and they can be hard on themselves. Okay, that's fine. But you know what? As a person who likes music, as a person who likes good music in general, this is a good album with good music on it. And that's all I'm going to take away from it. That's all I expect. So yeah, you know, be hard on yourself. That's fine. You know, set the bar high and try your best to achieve it. But yeah, overall, man, I like this album, you know. So let me know what you think about this. Okay, so let me scroll down, check my notes here before I bounce, man. Yes, I've already told you guys in part 1 here that the artist for the month of January in the new year is CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. And well, I'll give you a little update with Artist of the Month. Some of you had sent me, hey, you know, inquiries as to, oh, where are we standing with Artist of the Month? Who's in the lead? Who's, you know, who's in your top, whatever. And another thing too with that going forward, I don't want to get into the habit too much of sharing who's in the lead, who's not in the lead, that sort of thing, because I don't want to lead your recommendation. I'm talking to patrons here. And, you know, the times I think maybe the exceptions to that is if I am entering in a situation where it looks as if it's going to be a tie. And there's a serious tie-breaking element that I'm going to require. So I'll give you a heads up that, hey, you know what? The Doors and Aerosmith, they're neck and neck, and they're going to probably end up in a tie. And I'm going to use probably my bronze level patrons to do the tie-breaking votes, something like that. But going forward, I'm not going to be sharing who's in the lead and who's not in the lead and this sort of thing. You know, as a patron, if you are recommending an artist of the month, just recommend what it is that you want. Even if it is, you know, an artist who's been artist of the month before. Like I've seen a couple of recommendations for the Grateful Dead once again, you know, so do that. The reason why I'm handling it like this is because I have yet, and if you have some input on this, please feel free to let me know what you think. I have yet to identify a reliable way to share the artist of the month with everybody. What I mean, I had this idea of showing you somehow, I don't know, a graph or a screenshot or whatever it is to kind of give you an idea of, oh, well, Aerosmith is leading, but the Doors is right behind them, you know, and here comes so-and-so and such, you know, and then from there you can kind of say, well, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm going to vote for Aerosmith or recommend Aerosmith. and okay, I see that The Doors is actually the artist of the month, so I'm going to send in this recommendation. So I had the idea initially to have something that you can follow along and plot. And I even tried a couple of things like sending out like a poll, and sending out a poll to my patrons and having them kind of respond to the poll. And I would make the poll public, and you can kind of see, okay, well, yeah, you know, this. And so you can kind of add up, and then you'll know who's in the lead and that sort of thing. But what I didn't count on with the poll is that there would be such a pissing contest in the comment sections. Oh, why are you recommending this? Man, what a stupid choice. Why? And so the patrons were attacking each other. And so, and in the polls on Patreon, I can't disable comments because all I wanted was just a recommendation and nothing following, no disagreements, no pissing back and forth. But unfortunately, I had to just cancel that because it turned into a pissing contest. So I'm still looking for a way, still open to a way to kind of, I don't know, share exactly the tracking of who's in the lead and where the artist of the month is sitting and who's actually, you know, I'm still yet to identify a way to do that, unless, you know, maybe I start my own website or something like that. I'm still looking at that. But for right now, I still haven't come across a way where I can actually just maybe put a program in place to just kind of do the work. So I don't want to do all of that damn work myself, to be able to kind of like add this, plot this, and then show screenshots after screenshots. I don't have the time to do that. So I got to figure out a way where there's a program in place to just be able to kind of share that. So if you're a techie person and you know of a very smart, user-friendly way to do that, where it isn't going to cost me a lot of extra work, hey, I'm open to it. But as well too, though, in doing that, I want to be able to just extract from my patron just their recommendation and no further comment, because it will turn into a pissing contest as before. And so that's what I'm trying to avoid overall. So you see my dilemma? Anyway, but overall, man, that's where Artist of the Month is right now. And that was just to give you guys an update as to what I'm doing with it, and why I am no longer sharing, you know, who's leading and this sort of thing. You understand why. So that's that update. So Artist of the Month for January. I'm going to continue with my complimentary quads. I fell short of my goal to get it all caught up. So I'm still 6 complimentary quads behind, and I've still got some more to catch up on. So I got to do more complimentary quads, but I will get onto that. And yeah, okay, so my next Led Zeppelin reaction is about 3 or 4 days away. So those are my updates, man. So anyway, you guys, if you're going out tonight for New Year's Eve, as I'm going out, please be safe. Don't drink and drive. Make sure you have a designated driver, or maybe arrange to stay at a local inn or something like that. Stay off the roads and don't be on the road longer than you have to. That's very, very important, man. A night like tonight can be very fun, but also can be very disastrous. So watch out for yourself and for each other. Anyways, man, you guys, Happy New Year. And I will see you starting with the first studio album of the Allman Brothers in the new year, either tomorrow or the following day. Take care. Peace.